so as we start to look into the numerology, the numbers, what we're looking at is a tree of life. And this is something that the magicians use, and what I believe to be a map of the extra dimensions. And that's what they believe it to be as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so as you're looking into this map, there are 10 spots on it, and they are called the Sephiroth. And within these Sephiroth are different, you have your Trinity at the top. So this is the all, the one, looking at itself and creating a reflection. And so that's the 1, 2, 3, and that's why 1, 2, and 3 are all still one. And then 4 is the first emanation into reality. And then we come down where 6 becomes Jesus. But as we're looking at this numerology, you go up from the bottom up to the top. You have 10 points, and 10 being God, 10 being the hermaphroditic symbol, 1 and 0. And you're going to find these constant hermaphroditic symbols, Hermes and Aphrodite. You'll constantly find these everywhere. That's what the target sun sign is. It's the hermaphroditic symbol. That's what the compass and square is. They're sexual symbols, right? The point within the circle is a hermaphroditic symbol. So as you come up to 10, that is their God. That is 10. That is the hermaphrodite. But if you stop at 9 and you skip to 11, skipping God, then you are a Luciferian. Because 11 is the number of the magician. It's the one step above. Once you have accomplished the tree of life, you are now the magician. You are one above 10. But they're doing it by skipping God. That's the symbolism of 9/11.
I see.
You also find that the World Trade Center had their Masonic cornerstone lying ceremony on 9/11, and the Pentagon had their Masonic cornerstone lying ceremony on 9/11.
Their lying ceremony?
Their cornerstone lying ceremony, laying. The laying ceremony, when they put the cornerstone. Just as at the White House when George Washington did the Masonic cornerstone ceremony on 10/13, which just happens to be the X-Files production company. 10/13 is the date that they killed all the Templars and basically spawned the creation of Freemasonry, as the Scottish and New York Rites as they ran.
Okay. So they laid the cornerstone for the Pentagon and the White House on the date 9/11.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when we look at so this is where it gets into numerology, and again, I relate back to my friend Don Nikoloff, who is saying that, these predictions on false flag events or whatever he looks into, and has other people that look into the numerology surrounding what would be the most ideal dates Masonically that they would pull off another false flag event, i.e. know your enemy, if you will, right?
Consider how long ago they planned that. It was 1941 when they built the Pentagon, when they put that cornerstone in there. 1996 when they put the bills out that show the Twin Towers falling. Right? Because one of the main factors of this is that they need our free will agreement. And it doesn't matter how they get it. As long as they put it in a movie, like they did with the Lone Gunman, and we see it, we accept it, it's accepted by our soul. It is accepted by our free will agreement because we don't challenge it, we don't debate it, and we let it happen. So this is the one factor that I've found that's on our side, is that they must have our free will agreement. And this is the first thing you'll say when you walk into a Masonic lodge, is that you came of your own free will and accord. This is the one binding factor that they must stick to, and that's why we get all of the information beforehand. And also why they would not just come at us with guns, because our soul power is in their way. And that's what we start to learn when we get into these occult natures, is that it's way beyond what we think of as like rational reality.
Right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Let me give you the best example I have. After they railroaded the W into office, the excrement, I knew that would be the year. Now, I had been following what was known as the Homeland Security Act back in the Clinton era, and of course nobody would vote for it. What we now know as the Patriot Act. It was back in Clinton's time. They kept coming up every October 1st. Every October 1st it would come up, and I kept waiting for some event, something to happen in the middle of September to cause people to go ahead and vote for this thing. But when they railroaded the W into office, I knew that would be the year. And so I told everyone that there was going to be a major terrorist attack on 9/11, and I had picked that number because of HW, which means Emperor of the Excrement.
Go ahead.
HW announced the New World Order for the first time publicly on 9/11/1990. So I know how they are about their ritual dates. So I told everyone there's going to be a major terrorist attack on 9/11, September of 2001, and not to panic because it was just for your reaction. Now, consider this. After this occurs, we had put Saddam Hussein in power, right? Saddam Hussein was an American plant, right?
Right.
You know that. Okay, so Saddam Hussein then announces that he is Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated. Now, who was Lucifer in the King James Bible, but Nebuchadnezzar. So Saddam Hussein begins rebuilding Babylon. He rebuilds Nebuchadnezzar's palace, and in the masonry, he puts pictures of himself as Nebuchadnezzar. The USA Today announced CIA cannot disprove Saddam's claims to being Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated. Just wait till I hit you with the punchline on this one.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Okay. I mean, I could ask you a million questions. We could go on for weeks, but I don't have that long in this show. Michael Herzog, The American Awakening, with the amazing Freeman, folks. Stick with us. Call your friends and neighbors. I have a feeling it's even going to get better. We'll be back in 3. All right, folks, we're back with The American Awakening with my special, very knowledgeable guest. We're getting the Freeman perspective here today, and this is a short segment coming up to the top of the hour. Freeman, you're talking about Saddam Hussein being the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar, and the CIA couldn't refute it. Go ahead.
Yes, and so as he rebuilt all of these palaces and all of the ancient structures, as we were outlining that Freemasonry is Kabbalism and that they worship a goddess in America known as Columbia, in Britain she's known as Britannia, and so you've got British Columbia, right? Mm-hmm. This goddess in Hebrew is known as the Shekinah. My Hebrew is awful, but it's the Shekinah. And you will find that within Freemasonry that they have catchphrases that they'll ask each other, and so they'll ask you, what is the Shekinah? And it'll say it's that cloud of brotherhood that surrounds the altar in a lodge. Or in biblical terms, the Shekinah is the aura of God that surrounded the Ark of the Covenant in Solomon's
Shekinah?
Yes.
Shekinah. That's an interesting phrase there. The 1991 Shekinah by George H.W., the emperor of the excrement bush. Go ahead.
Yes. So, as you see, the Shekinah came down, struck Nebuchadnezzar, and they used what to blow him up? But the mother of all bombs. Now, what is it in acronyms of the military? The Moab. Now, I challenge you, go look and see who destroyed Nebuchadnezzar. It was the Moabites. So the Shekinah comes down, strikes Nebuchadnezzar using the Moabs.
So if a person, whether a person believes in Christianity or doesn't, or believes in Hinduism or doesn't, the fact is that these people believe, they worship, they have religious rituals, all of their nefarious events are planned out via this numerology based upon ancient tradition, right?
Absolutely.
This is unbelievable. It's believable, but it's unbelievable. And as we go through this, and you wake up to it, and I have done this after reading, Codex Magica, and after watching a few clips of yours, you can see this occult stuff around you. Even when I go to a Starbucks coffee, they have this occult symbol of this woman on the side of the cup. It's everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Now, one quick thing, and then we'll move on. Now, speaking of excrement.
Uh-huh.
It looks like we're going to have a choice, if there's even an election this year, of either doo-doo Clinton, caca Obama, or feces McCain.
Yes.
In your estimation, which one are they gearing towards putting in office, or does it even matter?
I've been standing for 10 years now. When I announced that they would railroad W into office, I concluded that with, and he will be the last American president. So I don't believe there will be an election this year.
So
I believe there's going to be a major event on 10/13.
On 10/13.
Yeah,
okay, which would that's right around. Isn't that close to the Republican or National Convention?
I believe it is.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get you off topic here. Go ahead.
That's fine. All kinds of things to discuss.